What's up, everybody? I'm James. Welcome to Mechanical Mayhem, and welcome to the Mechwarrior 5 Clan story-driven campaign playthrough, where we watch all the cutscenes, listen to the banter, comment on the game, the gameplay, and the lore, and generally have a fun time while utilizing stock build mechs only. And this is part 35. This is the final part, the final mission, Annihilation time. And that means that we have done 36 missions in this campaign. Pretty good amount for sure. Very substantive, been a lot of fun. So, one more time, let's strap in and prepare for drop.
So, it appears that Ezra has decided to crawl out from under the dragoon's skirts he ran to.
Sir Colonel, I have already accepted his challenge. I will bring vengeance down on him for betraying our clan.
You should have let him be. He is a traitor. He does not deserve the satisfaction of an honorable trial.
If I wanted opinions on this matter, Cordera, I would have asked you. You are no longer my superior, so tend to your own unit's affairs.
Very well. But you know I am right about this, Emily.
Jaden, I know that Sakan Weaver has tasked you with hunting Ezra down, but the timing of this trial is less than ideal. The 362nd took heavy losses clearing out the Luthian Armor Works campus. If you go through with this, I do not have the manpower to help you.
Ezra is my responsibility. My star is more than capable of handling him on our own. I need to finish this, or Ezra's betrayal will continue to dishonor not just my star, but all the 362nd.
Very well. You have my blessing. But you are to report back to me the second your mission is complete. The Smoke Jaguars have taken many losses pushing into the Imperial City. I need every skilled Mechwarrior I can get for the inevitable push towards the Imperial Palace.
We will contact you the second the deed is done. And Star Colonel, thank you. I know we have disagreed at times, but I appreciate the chance to make this right.
Spoken like a true Smoke Jaguar. Now go to Ezra and fight like one. Show that desperate traitor no mercy.
Alright, Annihilation time. 5 direwolves, last mission of the campaign. Let's do this. So, I've had a blast playing this game multiple times for this playthrough, on stream, doing different things. And this final mission, while not as long as the prior mission, the penultimate, is still a lot of fun. I would rank it on the harder side for the game, really because there's no repair bays at all in this mission, so we have to keep that in mind going forth. We are facing Ezra. This is the Crusader path, by the way, so at the end of Courchevel it diverges, and regardless of which path you choose, you'll be doing basically a mission like this here, more or less. Either you'll be facing down Ezra, or if you took the Warden path, the wrong path in my opinion, you'll be facing down Mia. Interesting little visual glitch on Ezra's Warhawk there. So what we have is, in essence, our star needs to gun down a bunch of forces to get to Ezra, take him out, and then rejoin Smoke Jaguar after the fact. So lots to do in this mission. It's pretty much run and gun the entire time. It's a lot of fun. The reason I say this is, in my opinion, the way to go is because the game's called Mechwarrior 5 Clans, not Mechwarrior 5 Clans, maybe Wolf Dragoons later. So, I feel like ideally Ezra could have defected, but not have a branching path. That would have been my ideal. So we can still deal with something like this, but also not have to make the choice to take the correct path, clearly. In any case, here we are. Now, Luthian is a very cool world. I like these cherry blossom-esque trees. And what I like about the kind of capital world and other important, what I would call core world style things, is that their architecture tends to be more in line with the kind of cultural identity of the faction, right? If you play Met Commander 2, you're playing against the Capellan Confederation. You get to see like a Jade Palace, if you will, almost, and of House Liao, and their inspirations for the aesthetics of that great house. And here with House Kurita and the Draconis Combine, we get to see the very Japanese aesthetic used, even though all the great houses are basically melting pots of society. Now what's nice is, as we approach the Imperial Gardens, we have lots of water. So we have plenty of ways to disperse the heat, so we can really spam fire and alpha strike if we needed to the enemy here, which is good because we had a Zeus, we had a Crusader, we have an Atlas, we've had VTOLs and ground vehicles, we've had turrets. It's going to be non-stop action when you're fighting. Now, I give Ezra a lot of flack. I understand the concept and point of view, but the reason I give Ezra a lot of flack is twofold. As a true born warrior, he was literally bred for battle and trained from birth, and you would think that that would give an understanding of what invading means, right? On top of that, the Inner Sphere has done some pretty heinous atrocities above and beyond Edo. Now you might be thinking, what about Courchevel? We destroyed that port city town area, right? Thingamabob. That was definitely not good, but was also forced, right? The 5th ALAG were harbored up in there and would not come out. We had to force their hand to face us and flee at the same time. So while not ideal, that was definitely like a conflict-induced thing, whereas you look at Edo, and that was completely unnecessary. In any case, the Inner Sphere has done leagues worse, especially Draconis Combine. We're not here to mince war crimes, right? None of it's good, but it's just something to keep in our back pocket when we're talking about stuff and thinking about stuff. And I just feel like the idea is Ezra would know we're invading a force that does not want to be conquered. Of course, there's going to be some bitter fighting to go on. But I'm definitely biased for the clans and for Clans Mojagor specifically. Now, what's cool is we learned that this is the Black Widow Battalion of Wolf's Dragoons. Natasha Kerensky used to lead it. Natasha Kerensky is considered one of the best mech warriors of this generation and is also the Khan of Clan Wolf. So it would be pretty interesting if this force went up against Clan Wolf. What would happen? Like, how would that go down? In any case, just pretty cool if we're facing off against an elite force like that. It would make sense. One thing we have to keep in mind is that this game obviously is based off the lore of Battletech, right? Everything that we've done has been in line with the lore, but is kind of considered an apocryphal tale. Basically, it's inspired by the events, but shouldn't be taken as, pure canon, right? Or gospel, like you would take the actual writings and things of that nature of the setting itself. And I say that because what we're facing, the amount we're facing, and certain aspects of how we're facing it and what's going down is obviously for the sake of a video game to provide challenge and what have you. So we can't say like this is exactly how many units we're taking out versus casualties or whatever else because, well, that's here for the video game challenge. Just something to keep in mind. But the idea of the overarching campaign and the missions and the worlds and what goes down is all accurate to the lore, which is pretty cool. So here we have a bunch of mechs. We had a summoner. We're facing off against assault and heavies, as well as turrets. There is a turret control tower that I could have scanned, but every time I get here, I end up destroying the turrets before realizing, oh, I could have scanned that, and maybe have had the turrets get one salvo off before being destroyed by the enemy, just to help out. But that is there as an option if you so desire. Best bet is to destroy everything so something doesn't sneak up on you or your AI doesn't wig out, like I said in the first Luthien mission. Rifleman and awesomes and just really pulling no punches here. just destroy everything as fast as possible. Remember, no repair bays in this mission. We need to really conserve our armor as best we can. There's basically three main segments. This is the pathway to Ezra, the battle with Ezra, and then the battle after Ezra. And we need to be sure we are capable of withstanding all of that without any repairs. With that being the case, we have this awesome wrap up, and we can make a bit more progress and take out this rifleman and move forward. So, the Crusader path and the Warden path are pretty different from one another, and that's the two paths of the game, as it represents the philosophies of the clans. The Crusader path is the whole might makes right type of situation of, well, the Inner Sphere cannot be trusted to rule themselves and make the right choices, so we need to do that with violence to conquer them and rule over them so they won't destroy each other like they've been doing. And as such, as emphasis is on conflict and conquering. Whereas the Warden path is different. Warden path wants the Inner Sphere to survive, but wants to kind of have a laissez-faire, a kind of hands-off approach, and do whatever is needed to watch over them, but without direct influence per se, unless absolutely necessary. So those are the two big differences, and obviously one path is very much not about conflict with them. The other path is, well, this clan invasion. So that's the major difference of viewpoints there. Now, that, I think, would have been a better argument for Ezra, just really feeling that Warden path thing, as opposed to calling the entirety of the clans, and particularly Smoke Jaguar, tyrants, because, well, and it's really the tyrant part is focused on Clan Smoke Jaguar, because outside of Edo, while there were definitely heavy-handed ways to deal with, disciplinary actions and things like that Port City, I wouldn't really put anything tyrannical. For the most part, it's business as normal on most of the clan planets that are conquered by or the planets conquered by the clan. So, I don't know. I mean, some people are definitely full on board that viewpoint, and I get it. And that's the nice thing about it, is that Ezra isn't necessarily right or wrong. And to go against Ezra's viewpoint isn't necessarily right or wrong either. It's kind of the extremes on both sides. And we are now approaching the gates where Ezra is waiting for us, I suppose. So this is what Ezra's talking about in terms of like atrocities and acts of violence. And I just feel like this is a war. This is an invasion. It doesn't justify any actions, but you're going to have conflict, and you're going to have turmoil as you do that. Conquering worlds doesn't exactly end up as a bloodless affair or an easy affair. There are exceptions to everything, and there's one particular example from Clan Wolf that they were able to take a planet basically bloodlessly, but that was like a one-off example and isn't the norm. So right out the gate here, and quite literally right off the bat, we have a king crab. So this is the last king crab we'll see in the game. I always forget about this guy because I always focus him down right away, that he doesn't last very long, so I tend to forget about him until I see him again. But definitely focus on it, right? And if you have to blow off an arm or whatever, we just don't want dual AC-20s having some free reign on our star here. With that, we have an engine kill right in front of us, as we have a Marauder 2, another 100-ton mech that can dish out some damage and take it. So we definitely kind of want to blow this guy out of the water so we can then spin around and focus on the other mechs coming at us. Ezra's mech on sensors will be the kind of Atlas skull thing there. And while you could make a beeline for him specifically and just focus fire him down, the best bet is to take out his entourage. The Annihilator is nothing to sneeze at all. Quite dangerous. The Mauler can be quite dangerous as well. So we really need to just focus up and take these guys out, and we can chase down Ezra, who, like Desra Scum, is running away. we have to fight a whole veritable company, just about, if you will, of mechs just to get to Ezra, and now he's fleeing. What do you expect a turncoat to do? So with that said, we downed the Mauler, and we're now chasing down Ezra. This is not the place to just go full tilt and sacrifice armor. I say that because there's a whole third of the mission, as I would say, after dealing with Ezra and his entourage here, and we want to be as capable as possible to deal with that. So Liam is brought up, right, about, because Ezra got the contacts for Wolf Dragoons from Liam's files after he died, was taken out on Courchevel. It's unclear, honestly, Liam's intentions. Liam was going to join the Watch, right? I don't feel like he was blowing smoke to try and defect. I really feel like perhaps he was trying to get intel from Wolf Dragoon or what have you, given the situation at hand, or at least trying to establish some type of I don't know, some type of special, secret agent style, like, shenanigans and dealings with them. Maybe not full-blown defection, but we won't know because he's been taken out, and it's just left to interpretation based on which path you go and what you ultimately think will happen. And I think that's important, right? I have my viewpoints. I feel like the Crusader path is the true ending for the game, just based on the title of the game, the intention of the game. But it doesn't mean that it is, and it doesn't mean that the Warden path is either. It's kind of, I think, blatantly left open to interpretation, and I like that. You could have it feel very much clearly one way or the other. And, I've seen the Warden Path missions. That I haven't personally played it because I refuse to go any path but Crusader as a Smoke Jaguar fan. But they're cool missions, and nothing really makes me feel one way or the other that one path is very clearly the quote-unquote canon ending for the game. At least that's how I look at it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So after taking out Ezra, we have to take out the remaining enemies in this area. Once we do that, we'll trigger an in-mission cutscene before finishing off the mission. So we're getting there. We're getting really close to the end. This has been a fun ride, like I said. Clan Ghost Bear's getting an expansion. It's been recently announced. So I went ahead and actually re-recorded this commentary over the mission after that announcement, since I don't have this mission posted to the playthrough just yet. So here we are. Really looking forward to that expansion coming out. That'll be streamed on my Twitch, and I'll also record episodes of that for a playthrough, just like I did here, with each mission and subsequent cinematics and whatnot for a story-driven campaign expansion playthrough. So stay tuned for that when it comes out in April. Don't get too close to the turrets. Obviously, you want to take them out, and then we got to take out the Mad Dog, because we were going to take out the Mad Dog. We ran into a catapult, so here we are. Now, with that said, hopefully you're of more armor than what I have right now.
Ezra, why did you betray the clan? Betray us?
The Jaguars have twisted the Crusader cause in the name of self-righteous glory. I told you I would not take part in another massacre. I did what I knew was right.
You took the coward's way out. You abandoned all of us for your own selfish desires. And now you will die for it.
You want to kill me, Jaden? Then kill me. I will gladly die with honor over living like the tyrants you become.
No. You will die, Desgra, and forgotten for what you have become.
Tyrant.
really like that little ending there where Jaden just says "as" one more time after doing the deed. It just makes it feel more relatable. I don't want to say relatable. I've never done something like this, but more real. Uh, and by the way, if you take the warden path, you'll be facing down Mia, and instead of you blowing up the mech, Mia will overload her mech to avoid being taken as bondsman. And a similar kind of ending happens in the cinematic where Jaden says her name one more time after the explosion. I don't know, it gives it a certain gravitas in my opinion, and I really like that. So we have finished the deed, as it were. And I like Alexander's radio chatter here, and Jaden saying, I thought I'd feel different or it feels empty. And it, again, it just feels so much more quote unquote realistic than just being like, well, did that job, good thing we got that done type of situation, and then being fine. So I really like that. But now we need to exit. So with Mia's radio contact, we get the news. We're pulling out, as Star Colonel Wimmer said. This is why I said in the very first mission on Luthien that this was an interesting choice to end the campaign on. So, heavy losses were taken by Novacat, and obviously Smoke Jaguar is taking heavy losses. But let's not poke at the clan here, or the clans. The Inner Sphere took a beating here, Draconis Combine and Mercenary Forces included. So, the Planetary Defense Forces were nearly ground to complete dust, nearly completely annihilated. The sort of light present on the planet were reduced to, I believe, 40% strength. The Otomo, an elite Royal Guard unit, was reduced to half. I think the Izanagi were reduced similarly. Kellhounds lost a large number, as did the Wolf Dragoons. So everybody on all sides were hurting. Now, with that said, in the lore, and we'll see this in the cutscene too to come, but in the lore, it has been stated in several different ways, some roundabout, some direct, that if it wasn't for the mercenaries' intervention on Luthien, the Draconis Combine would have lost. So it really puts into perspective, I guess, how close the fighting has been, and also how dire it was for the Draconis Combine. If they lost this core world, it would have been, or I always call it a core world, this capital world, it would have been a major blow, and things could have toppled much more quickly, and been a much worse kind of result for the Draconis Combine. That being said, as you can see, we're immediately facing off against an Atlas. There's other pretty powerful forces in the area. We have Jaeger mechs. There's a lot of things that can hit us with pretty decent quick blows at long range, and considering our armor's already been thinned, that's not good. Riflemen, the works. In any case, even with that being said, and we don't take Luthien, the fact is, before the Battle of Takayed or Tukayed, or however you want to pronounce it, I never know how to pronounce it, before that battle occurs, the Smoke Jaguar clan would conquer another 5, I believe, worlds after this Battle of Luthien. So it's not like this is it and that's all we're doing after this. There's a lot more going on, not across all invasion corridors in the span of time before the Battle of Takayed or whatever. So it's not like Smoke Jaguar is reduced to being incapable of continuing the invasion. They continued it, and they conquered more worlds, including Port Arthur. So I just got an armor blow through in that little skirmish. I have a torso out. This would be the left side torso, if I can read the schematic correctly. This is why I say definitely pace yourself better, long range, make use of it. We don't face enough clan units or clan mech tech, if you will, to really feel like we need to just get in close and hit the enemy hard. or anything like that, we still have more or less range advantages, especially after dealing with Wolf Dragoon forces with Ezra, because now it's all inner sphere tech against us. But there's a lot of it. Thankfully, we have allies. So we're looking to withdraw from the Imperial City, which is more or less what's going on. We're doing that. There's a Shrek tank, which is triple PPC. We gotta be careful with that. We're not pulling any punches here. There's a lot of firepower coming downrange at us, but we have in essence an allied star. My recommendation is let that star take some hits. It's a little ruthless, but it's fitting. Also, we're pretty banged up. Also, I feel like you as a player can take out air units really well, while your allies can pound into the Hanamaru Chi, and there'll be a Hatchet Man and other mechs like that coming around. So kind of hang tight with the allied AI, the blue dots on your sensor. Hang out around them, let them kind of get aggro, if you will, and dish out some damage, and assist with that, and you can really maximize the armor you have, especially if you're like me and got way too aggressive in some cases. Ideally, you wouldn't have an armor blow through just yet. You would be able to have your armor integrity a little better than I am right now. In my first playthrough, it was even worse. I almost lost an entire side torso and arm. But even with custom builds, these are all stock builds, so it does make any difficulty level a little bit more difficult when you're in a stock build, because your mechs are balanced as opposed to being min-maxed. But even with min-max of armor and damage capability, your armor is going to be pretty light and you have the potential for some blow-throughs happening, so be careful. What I'm doing now is very much not smart, and I am moving forward towards that ammo crate. Honestly, I could have drawn the aggro out, fallen back, and not have taken some extra hits here, but instead I decided to go for the shiny, and by the shiny I mean the ammo crate. So that's a Banshee. That's nothing to sneeze at. I'm getting hits, getting my star to get some aggro off of me. I'm backing up, letting my allies come in and take some heat. If I was playing that smarter, we would have moved up slowly, engaged that range, and backed off to allow our allies, this allied star, to get up a little bit closer and take more heat. In any case, though, where we are hitting them, right, we're not weak. We're just lacking in armor power right now on our mechs. As you can see, my entire star has been taking a thrashing a bit. The allies that we have are not going to just move forward on their own. We can't control them, but we can kind of guide them, because they more or less hover around you and your star. So until we get to a specific point down the line here, they're just going to hover with us and then engage things and move around that way. But if we stand still, they're not going to keep moving forward. They need to be within range of you, more or less, and therefore they'll move when you move. Keeping this in mind, we can definitely make use of that, kind of like we did here a little bit. So here we see some wreckage, not necessarily what we caused, but of the invasion in general, which is pretty cool. You have to remember, this was a huge attack. 2 clans, a lot of clan forces, a lot of inner sphere forces, specifically Draconis Combine and some mercenaries, to defend. It was a massive, brutal battle. And in terms of the actual lore of it, Luthien Armor Works was partially damaged in the skirmish, which sets back Draconis Combine, of course. Plenty of salvage for the Draconis Combine to pick through after all the dust has settled. But I would call this personally a fiery victory for the Draconis Combine. Everybody was left hurting, left reeling. However, Clan Strength and the Clan War Machine was still able to move past this and conquer more worlds, and then even engage in the Battle of Takayid. Now, the Battle of Takayid, I don't know if we're ever going to see it, but all the clans for the clan invasion had their own theaters and sectors to fight in. And the fighting went over, I believe, several days. And the end result was Comguard victory. But the specific clans that were would lose the battle. I mean, Smoke Jaguar would lose their segment of it. Spoilers. Jade Falcon would be battled to basically a draw. Ghost Bear pulled a win out of nowhere. A victory, kind of. It was purely because of poor positioning, and they barely were able to eke out like a positive net for their side, if you will. With Clan Wolf getting the only true victory against Kongar, like a true earnest, no questions asked victory. But my point is, that was able to happen even after all of this. That I think that's a testament to the clan's war machine. That after a couple years of conquest and battles, they were able to do this mega final battle and even, you know, put Kongar on his paces. Because prior to that, to kind of talk through this a bit more, Kongar did skirmish with the clans by accident. The clans at times would engage Kongar forces on certain planets, not realizing that it was not part of the planetary's offensive forces. But when they did, the Kongar, they got beat. They got hurt. So Kongar didn't exactly walk away from the Battle of Takayid unscathed at all. But that being said, that is after this. And maybe we'll see it in a future DLC. Hopefully, Ghost Bear's DLC will be well received. It looks like it should be. It seems really cool. We get elementals. That's awesome. To at least assist us. So we'll see what happens that way. In any case, getting back to the actual mission at hand, we see Jaden's got ambition. We learn about the fact that we've succeeded in every task we have been put on, more or less, right? Meaning our star is in a position to gain some prestige. Jaden's in a position to gain gain more leadership role potentiality and all that, which is really cool. I like this campaign. We got to go from Sibco training, trial positioning, the invasion, and working our way up, and as from a fresh star to a pretty veteran star, and it's a cool process to see, which is going to be different from Ghost Bear's expansion, where we start off as a Keshik star, so we start off as an elite star already. Not that it hampers anything, or not that it's going to change too much of how you're going to play, but you know, it's a different way of telling the story. This was a story of, you know, cutting your teeth, more or less, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, we don't have to be fighting here. This is roughly a company's worth of enemy mechs that we're dealing with, and we could have easily just shot at things near enough to us, crippled them while we went to the dropship. That's the ultimate goal of the dropship. And in my first playthrough, my star was hurting, myself included, so we just kind of took pot shots as we went and got on board that dropship ASAP. But if you have the gumption and the mechs are in decent enough shape to do it, you can support whatever star forces are left that are assisting you of that allied star and grind this company's worth of mech against you to dust as kind of a parting gift before you leave. So that's what we're doing, because why not? It's more mech combat, and more Battletech mech combat's a good thing. So yeah, definitely worth a playthrough for yourself if you haven't yet. I know I'm going to play through this campaign again. I can't wait for the DLC, and especially if we get to use the mechs coming in that DLC in this campaign as well. I want to do another playthrough for sure for that. Even without that, I just really like Clan Smoke Jaguar, and I think this campaign did a great job for them. In closing, as we get close to the end here, Clan Smoke Jaguar was definitely very obviously written as an antagonistic clan force, something that the Inner Sphere could rally around to try and destroy, and eventually did in the 3060s, right, with Operation Serpent and Bulldog. But the point is, while not an actual one-dimensional force or faction, Clan Smoke Jaguar, I would say, was written much more one-dimensionally, in my opinion, and it could just be the way I look at it. Obviously, I'm a fan of them, have been since the 90s, so it didn't affect anything for me, and there's a lot there to kind of delve into and sink your teeth into when you really think about it. But what I like about this campaign is that without really retconning the Smoke Jaguars, we've been fleshed out. We've definitely got a bit more of a fleshed out feel for the clan, and that's pretty awesome. So, took a bit of a pounding, but we made it, and we even get some salvage, because it's a game after all. So, those are the missions.
To be a warrior of the clans is to serve a greater purpose, to give yourself to a cause of freeing humanity from the oppressors that have held them in bondage for centuries, and reform mankind's greatest achievement, the Star League. The fact that the Draconis Combine was only saved by the paid mercenaries of the Federated Commonwealth points to the depravity these feudal house lords will sink to in order to hold on to power. They are a cancer that must be burned away before humanity may truly be free. It falls to us, the only ones strong enough to tear down these corrupt systems. The only ones willing to sacrifice everything to see Kerensky's dream realized. For we are Smoke Jaguar, strongest of the clans. We fight with the ferocity of our namesake to reclaim Terra, to earn the mantle of Ill Clan, and lead all the children of Kerensky into salvation.
I give you Star Captain Jaden Smoke Jaguar.
It is our sole purpose, our divine right. We will continue to bring vengeance down on the despots and petty tyrants that rule over humanity. And they shall tremble before our might.
All right. Star Captain Jaden Smoke Jaguar. Funnily, in my first playthrough, when the game launched, within the time span of that game launch, that cutscene had the subtitles right, but the dialogue would say Star Commander out loud audibly, so they patched that definitely, but here we are. Cool cutscene, obviously different if you go to Warden Path, but I really like this ending, and I really hope if we do revisit Smoke Jaguar at all, we revisit Cobalt Star just to solidify that the Crusader Path was the canon ending for the game. Also because all the assets are here for them, so why not? Not sure. We saw Ibrahim Ismail present at the Star Captain promotion there. So I don't know if we went back to Huntress for that, or if we had Ismail in the Inner Sphere, after the death of Leo Showers and all the clans, Blood Name Warriors went back to the home world. I don't know if Ismail came forward with them for whatever reasoning, but in any case, cool to see him. Really cool character. Not really sure where that promotion took place, but we had Sakan Weaver and Starcon Wimmer there, so that's really cool. And yeah, just really, really fun game. I really feel like the marketing for this game is what let it down the most. I think if this had like some proper hype up marketing and advertising and just really went out there a bit, I feel like it would have been a bit of a different story. It's still a very niche game. Mechwarrior always is, but really enjoyed it. Super cool to be back in the clan's cockpit as a clan fan. This is the first time in nearly 3 decades that we get to do something story driven by the clan, so definitely a welcomed change of pace from the typical mercenary Inner Sphere stuff that we tend to get, which is always fun, but definitely like this. MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, MechWarrior 5 Clans. What's cool is, if you play Mercenaries, when you are fighting against those mechs in this game, you kind of know them, and they look very similarly, they act very similarly, and if you remember how the mechs sounded and moved in Mercenaries, the clan mechs feel that much more advanced because they are more advanced tech. Really cool to see the warships and the fleet move out and just have more of the story embellished, right, and fleshed out in game form. Like I was saying, Smoke Jaguar is a very one-dimensionally written clan amongst the clans, right? By design, I feel back in the day, they made something that was very easy for the Inner Sphere to rally behind and very easy to point to as the antagonist of antagonists. And that's why they were sought out for destruction. And they would eventually come back in the Ill Clan era, which I'm grateful for. But, yeah, so as a result, Smoke Jaguar is always written as hyper ferocious, hyper um, aggressive, with ferocity and brutality in action. And I get it. There's definitely more nuance to them, and sometimes it's contradictory itself, but it set the tone for a very easy setup for a force for the Innisphere to go after. And it worked. And I think without really changing that, we have a nice fleshing out of Smoke Jaguar a bit. It's apocryphal, yes, but I think how things are kind of showcased to the player fits very well and fits very much in the Smoke Jaguar way and the clan's way in general, right? You get a nice experience or introduction to the clans through your tutorial arc on Huntress, the trial position thing, and just verbiage and it being an exposition in the game done in a way that isn't just boring exposition, which is always good. So once you complete the campaign, you get this little message. You're never going to run on Kerensky, so you can do MechLad stuff to your heart's content. And of course, that's after the credits. What's also cool is you get a letter in the game. So you go to your notifications, and Sakan Weaver has a letter to the Star Captain, which is more or less more of the same stuff. So yeah, really, really fun. I really have enjoyed myself with this. I hope some of you have enjoyed yourselves as well. Hit that subscribe button, alpha strike it. Let's try and conquer a bit of the algorithm, get the word of coolness that is Battletech out to the masses through Mechwarrior discussion and gameplay and Battletech discussion and all that jazz. Let's try to get into double digits. I know we can do it. There's plenty of us out there. So thanks so much for stopping by. When Ghost Bear comes out, that expansion, I'll be hitting it on the Twitch, and I will be posting a let's play of it or a playthrough, whatever you want to call it. I call it a playthrough here on the channel as well in its own playlist. So stay tuned for that, and there'll be plenty more discussion to come. I enjoy doing run-throughs of this campaign, so I'll be doing that on Twitch here and there amongst playing Battletech 2018 and other stuff. So don't forget, you can obviously check out the experience of your star. So if you wanted to do Simpod stuff or and horde mode and stuff like that, you definitely could. And you have everything unlocked, so you're able to go forth and conquer, hopefully, right? In any case, that's all I got for you. So once again, thanks so much for tuning in and stopping by. And until next one, whatever that is, take care.